Hello. Oh, I tell you, I can never really tell whether I'm actually on live, but I think I am. So I'm just going to carry on. Um, Hello, Saturday evening, and again, it's late, going on 11, but it's okay because I'm actually on a 3-day summit, low carb summit weekend. So day one was last night, where there was access to the actual sessions from midnight. So I was watching them, some of the videos last night. And again, there's another one with access to day two. Now, I've already seen a few of the day two ones, so it won't be another late night tonight. But I thought I would actually just share what I saw last night. Now, the whole low carb, high fat way of eating is the way that I actually have been eating ever since, probably for about 200 odd days now. I was looking at my calendar the other day, and I think I'm on to about day 310. So nearly one whole year since I started my whole weight loss health journey. So I've been eating this way for about 200 odd days, and it's been good. I still was in the midst of actually losing weight. And then, of course, you stabilize when your body starts adjusting. But I've been maintaining it for quite a while, and energy levels are still good, and everything's actually quite well. So it's basically just settled into like maintenance, and this is the way I actually eat, which is low carb, high fat protein, also known sometimes as keto. Not really paleo. I think paleo has got a real big emphasis on dairy, I think. I'm not too familiar with it, but low carb, high fat is basically how I describe it. All right, so there is a summit. It's mainly hosted by this lady who's a certified nutrition network advisor, and she's based in Melbourne. So there's a lot of guests from South Africa, because the Nutrition Network is actually a global platform, but it's run mainly out of South Africa based on an initiative that they wanted to do, that whole Eat Better South Africa as a country. So it's like a non-profit, and the Nutrition Network is basically their profit division, where they offer a lot of courses to help practitioners and also help, so the doctors, the nutritionists, the dietitians, and also other people who are just genuinely interested in that area, so that they could actually learn a bit more. And I'm currently actually going through their, very keen on actually going through their Nutrition Network Advisor program, which is like the first entry level, and then you can sort of take on a few other modules, and then you end up being certified as a nutritionist, because that area, the area of food, is what I feel is very important and has a big contributing factor to losing weight, and also just improving your overall health. Reversing my pre-diabetes was based on what I ate and how often I ate. So it was actually interesting, and I'll show you, because I'll browse and I'll show you a couple of the tabs of these panel discussions that I thought was actually really cool. Now, in order to get the recordings, you do have to pay for them, but I was doing like a screen recording of them, so I'm not too sure, but I might actually sort of put a link maybe to an unlisted video on YouTube, but I'll put it into the private group if you want to catch it. But just to give you an idea, maybe what well, first of all, I'm actually going to show you, while you can see me, that I took a lot of notes. Here's my notepad. All right. And because the first panel discussion I was listening to and watching were the women's one, where there was 5 of them, the host, and then 4 guests from the Nutrition Network. And they were very enlightening in terms of what information that they were sharing. But I'll go in and I'll actually show you a little bit of what they covered in terms of the topics. But some of the things that I was actually noting down, right, where they were talking about just empowering women to make changes, right, and being able to sort of grow and collaborate with other women, which is it just makes sense, right? Because a lot of us are just individuals anyway when we decide to do something. But it's good to have the support of other people. And ideally, because there's a lot more women that actually decide to do this than men, it's good to actually form a good group of women that you actually can rely on, can ask each other and support each other. So that's why I encourage you to, even though you feel like you're doing a lot of these things on your own, because you're going through your own journey, just stay connected. Don't feel like any question is a stupid question or a dumb question. It's not. And just reach out. I've basically made myself available. The fact that I've actually shared my story, and I'm full of encouragement, and you guys encourage me back when you share also that you're making the decision to do something. And so it's like a two-way thing. So while we're sort of feeling new and sort of building up all of this, I'm just more than happy to sort of to share what I can, and just invite you, if you just want to, message me and just say a few things or ask a few things or whatever it is, then by all means do that. I am posting on this page, which is a public page, live every day. That's almost like a personal business challenge for me to do. But this actually helps me to sort of find my story and be able to actually sort of share it more widely and connect with more people. The private group that's actually linked to this one will have a few more sort of, videos in detail. But you're very welcome to sort of just send an invite to join that group as well. So that's actually linked to this page and things. So I'll just go back to what I was writing, because I did 1, 2, 3, and then 4. It was like 3.5, and then it went into the men's panel summit. And that was actually enlightening too, listening to the men actually talk about their health and things. So I will actually show you while it's actually still available, because I think they're going to actually remove the access to this very soon, and then sort of just have it available for the day 2, which I will talk about day 2's videos tomorrow on this live. But the women, if I go back to some of what I actually wrote about them, so they were talking about empowering, talking about celebrating the fact that you make a decision about what you want to do, the role of the woman being so influential, because we have a nurturing role. We've got a very important role within the family itself, because we feed the families. We often do the shopping and we do the cooking for our families. So we get to decide and choose what we're actually cooking and for the rest of the family. And what else was there? Oh, there's something about like taking the ego out. I think because the women that were actually on the panel, the professionals, they were quite sort of academically up there in terms of being doctors and nutritionists, and they had studied at science into quite a few of the sort of the food groups and things. So they were actually talking about how they feel, even though they are accomplished, they still feel fairly inadequate because they put so much pressure. And that's a lot of what we do as women, put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do as much as we can and to do it as best as we can and things. And so they were basically trying to say that it's like, be kind to yourself, and that think about how you respond differently to others, but you're always hard on yourselves. So there was this focus on just self-care, right? And just looking after yourself a bit more and just being kind to yourself. And the fact that often when we make a decision, a personal decision to lose weight, we feel sometimes that it's like we are not supported, maybe because we don't really share that we're on this weight loss journey. And it's important to also try and get a buy-in from your family, right? Because the fact that you are restricting and you're trying to do something, you should be able to sort of openly speak with your family about it too, so that they don't sort of go out of their way to, go get those extra chocolate biscuits or whatever that is they're going to have and then eat it in front of you, right? It's more like trying to share what you're actually doing with the rest of the family to get a buy-in and get a support, so that you don't have this temptation around you, this sort of, because the rest of the family aren't actually sort of supporting you on that one. Also, the ability to actually say no to things, because too often we as women actually say yes to a lot of things, right? And that's also part of the self-care, of being able to actually say no to things. So said about don't get too stressed on yourself, don't get too mean on yourself, and always sort of wonder, always sort of question, would I be that mean or demanding on my friend like I am on myself and things? So generally women take it upon themselves to be successful, keep a decent house, fulfill their personal goals, try to be the role of what their grandparent or their grandmother or what their mother used to be as well. And a lot of that can just be too much in terms of like just the pressure that we feel and the stress that we feel to actually be to do a lot of things very well. So there was that sort of conflict that they were actually talking about. The need to also be courageous and getting on with things, just doing it and being able to step in confidence when you make a decision. The importance of the whole low carb thing and how it's actually it is nurturing and it's actually feeding you the right way in your body, so that you do feel and you can respond better to stress and handle sort of any sort of mental fatigue. And so there was a lot of things that they basically said. and women in their role of actually, you know, because they are mothers and they actually bring up their children and they teach their children. So it's a matter of like, when you do that self-care and you're looking after yourself, you do have that influence also of how you can sort of teach those good things also to your children so that they don't actually grow up to be ill or sick, you know, from just that whole thing that we're doing with health and getting back to better health. I think so. The guys, very different perspective about the men's panel, but let me actually just share the screen so you can see a little bit about what they're actually on about in terms of their topic. So hang on. Okay, so this one is, I'll go to the girls. Yeah, so here's the women's health panel. So all of these ladies are from the Noakes Foundation. The Noakes Foundation is Professor Timothy Noakes. So if you actually Google him, you'll find a lot because he is one of those, he's very, he's right up there in terms of being a clinical sports psychologist, and also he was a doctor, but he's retired now, so he's professor. But he had a major influence on these people. So those two from the Noakes Foundation, these two are from the Nutrition Network, which is actually which came out of the sort of the Noakes Foundation as well, and thing. So yeah, like I said, they covered many topics: diet, health, work-life balance, what it is to be a working mum, and obviously during the pandemic when they had to take on the other role of being a what is it? You know, when you're homeschooling your kids. I think so. So there was Jane, Dr. Hasina Kaji, Tamsin Murphy, who's very qualified in that whole sort of the physiology and looking into all the different types of diets. Yana Retief in there. So so it's about an hour and 15 minutes, but like I said, I will actually put the link. The audio is not that great, but I'll put a link on the private group. So if you want to catch it, I do encourage you to actually catch it, because what they have to say and share, given their number of years and their experience, and just the fact that they've helped so many women, particularly in South Africa, because that's their whole goal, to sort of help as many of the women because of the different socioeconomic backgrounds. So they've got a lot of interesting things to actually share about that one. The other one is the men's. Now, these three guys are from Australia, but they're basically health, personal development coaches and things, and they really do. If you know something about those Australian guys, they can really like just come straight to the point, right? So they don't really beat about the bush in terms of like what they actually say about issues facing men, and just how women should actually communicate with their men about things to do with health. So this is basically what they sort of covered. What are the biggest health issues facing men? What are the signs of failing metabolic health? How do we get the men in our lives to take an interest in their health before it's too late? How to have that difficult conversation with your partner? Fitness and exercise. Do we need carbs? And what's a day on their plate? Basically what they tend to eat and things. So they're quite entertaining in themselves in terms of how they actually answer and respond, compared to obviously how the females see things. But those two perspectives are actually really good. So there's Andre, Laban, and Niall. Niall's actually Irish, but all three of them are actually in Australia and thing. So those two panels that I was watching last night, I would say are very, very useful. And like I said, I've got the women's one that I will put the YouTube link. Now, the audio is not that great, but very welcome to actually watch that one. And I'm just waiting on the final processing of the men's panel too, which is, so I'll put that link too in the private group. All right, so that is basically what I wanted to share tonight. I should have looked up the agenda for what tonight is. Actually, I think tonight's one, which I'm not quite sure about. I mean, I'll see if I can actually. I mean, I will stay up because I still feel awake at this time. But if I don't, then I'll just catch it early in the morning when I wake up. But I think I was even watching, like, they had some cooking ones last night. So I was even watching this lady actually cook. Where am I? I think I've lost my tab. I think you can still see me. But anyway, I was watching this lady actually make ice cream. Don't know about that. She used a certain type of processor, blender thing, but it looked fairly easy, but I don't know. I think it's just too close to being too sort of like getting into that whole sweet type of thing. So, but it was interesting because I was like, I don't know what time it was, very late, early in the morning, and I was watching her make ice cream. Anyway, okay, so I think there's more discussions on protein and heart and diabetes tonight with various specialists. So I'll catch a few of them and I'll just give a little bit of an update tomorrow night on this page. All right. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, Sunday as well. And I will catch you tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, bear with me because I think I've actually lost my page. You're going to keep looking at me. Okay, all right.